My name is Andy Miller. I'm 40 years old, born and raised in Sacramento. I was in sales for about 20 years. Unfortunately, I fell into different levels of addiction, starting off with smoking weed and drinking alcohol just kind of recreationally with friends. That became a little bit heavier and heavier, and then I got into using cocaine a couple years ago. It was after my father passed, used a little bit of a coping mechanism, and again, still socially. And then it started to really progress and go downhill from there. It became less and less of a social thing and more of an introverted, very solitary act that I was doing, not only when I was using, but when I wasn't using. Been married for almost 10 years, and the last few years, I was pretty much non-existent as a husband, as a partner, as a family member, as a friend, as an employee. And it was very, very lonely. I tried to mask everything with more and more drugs and alcohol, and of course that just made it worse the more that I used. I lost 3 jobs in 2 years, and I feel like it was a bit of a cry for help. I wasn't really trying at home at all, but I figured if I could continue to try at work, bring home a paycheck, that I could at least on the surface make it look like I was a healthy person. But when I stopped trying at work because I was so addicted, I really couldn't function the way that I wanted to, but I stopped trying as well. And when I lost that last job, my wife pretty much asked me, you know, I need a reason for what's going on. And so I told her, and that was the best thing that I could have ever done, was to just raise my hand and be honest for the first time with someone outside of the few friends that I was using with, and say, I'm addicted and I need help. And that night, my wife had a couple of friends and family come over, a couple of which who had been through some various mental health and drug rehabilitation programs. And it was completely met with open arms. They were relieved to know what was going on with me. And we started to look at options that night. I thought a lot about jobs. You know, I mean, I had lost jobs, but I could usually get another one pretty quickly. And so what would I do without income? You know, how could I not be providing for my family? What are people going to think about me? What are my friends who don't use with me going to think about me? Are they going to feel like they can't hang out with me afterwards? Are they going to judge me? I quickly realized after I finally did raise my hand and ask for help that nothing was more important than just getting better, because regardless of what I was going to have after treatment, it'd be more than what I had now. I wasn't lucky enough to do the inpatient residential through Diamond House, but the residential treatment that I did do, Diamond House came highly recommended because I'm from the Sacramento area, and they were able to get me in. I think it was just a 24-hour lapse where I went home, real quick after my 45-day stint in residential, and came straight into outpatient here at Diamond House. I can confidently say that it has helped save my life and make me a better person. I felt like there was going to be a multi-pronged approach. I wanted to take a fully holistic view of what was going on with me. I pretty much knew that if I was just to stop using, that would be about half the battle. Even if I stopped for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be happy and healthy, and I would probably relapse. So stopping using was huge, but then everything else that comes afterwards and during, I knew I needed to focus on. So that's mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. So I had pretty high hopes coming in here, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that my expectations were met and exceeded. They have offered me perspectives and connections and views and information and experience that I never would have thought to ask for, I didn't think was available. The word that always comes to mind when I think about Diamond House is family. The disease of addiction is the only one that you can come out healthier on the other side. And I found that to be true so far. I hope I can keep it up with the tools that I've been given here. The opposite of addiction is connection, and that's what you get here. There's a culture not only with the staff, but a legacy culture with the clients. People are constantly coming and going, But as soon as someone new comes in, they're welcome with open arms. And sometimes they're a little standoffish, or sometimes they're a little more secluded, but they get welcomed, and eventually they warm up to the group. Not only are we sharing in group settings and learning in group settings, but you also do it, on an individual basis when you're having breaks, and just talking and hanging out, maybe before, during, after classes, hang out on the weekend sometimes. You build connections with your individual counselor as well. And so everything that you learn, all the new perspectives that you get from the staff and from other clients and people who have 6 days and 6 months worth of recovery, it's just been absolutely priceless. I don't know if it goes on anywhere else, but it definitely goes on here. Emotions, having to deal with them, getting to deal with them, they say, sober, is difficult. I get overwhelmed more quickly, and it seems so much heavier. When I'm able to work through it, I feel so much more proud than when I would go grab a bottle or go grab a bag. And that strength is kind of a snowball effect, but it's not linear. You don't constantly just get better and better and stronger and stronger. Sometimes you backslide a little bit and you feel like, I can't do this anymore. And so you reach out to someone who you met here, or you reach out to a counselor, or you look in your bag of tricks, or you look through your notes, or you look in your journal and you try one of those meditations, or you eat a little healthier, or you exercise, some things that we've learned during this process. And it's been so helpful, but life is gonna keep on coming at me. It was always coming at me. I was just blocking it. And now it's coming at me, and I can face it head on now. I do a pretty darn good job of getting most of the stuff done that I need to and that I want to, and I'm honest with myself about it, and I'm honest with my wife, I'm honest with my friends and family. So just to be able to feel like I faced the day, I did the best that I could, I hopefully reached out and tried to help someone else out in need, and just being proud of having the ability to be proud again, because I did not have that ability before. I don't know what changed in me to where I finally raised my hand and said, I want to go. Because you don't really want to go to rehab. I thought it was gonna be an absolutely horrible environment, like jail. It was the exact opposite. I've never felt more free in my life during rehab and now after. But my advice, I guess, would just be, try to just be true to yourself. Don't listen to the addict who's talking to you, because that one is so much stronger than the real you. The real me was so far depressed, so far down in my psyche that I wasn't even trying to access him. He was crying for help, but I told myself that I was okay and that I wanted to keep using. So just try to access your real, genuine self and say, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? And do I want to die probably really early, or maybe even very soon? And usually the answer is going to be no. Just raise your hand. It will be met with the most open arms you can ever imagine. The more vulnerable and the more honest you are, you think it's going to be like, oh my God, everyone's just going to shun me. It's the exact opposite. They hug you with tears in their eyes.